Hey, good morning, Gold Creek. It is April 8th. It is day 98. Hopefully you are up to date on the one-year Bible. My name's Brian. I'm the pastor over at our Woodinville campus, and this is my good buddy,
Tom Hallstrom.
And Tom is one of my good friends. He is the music master. He is an amazing musician. And what I love about him is, and specifically why I asked you today, was because Tom has a different perspective on everything, how I see it, perceive it. And he has a wealth of knowledge on the side of that. So anyway, I'm excited to get into it, start talking about all this stuff. And I don't know about you guys, but when it comes to reading now, and maybe for a lot of the people that are first time reading through the Bible, this is where we're getting into some of the muddy water of things that don't make sense. You know, justice issues. Can we really trust God? There's a lot of like killing and a lot of stuff going on. And I'm actually glad we're going to talk about that today because for myself as a pastor, I've been sitting down with a lot of people from Woodinville in the last couple of months who are reading through the Bible for the very first time. And they're asking these questions. You know, if God is a loving God, why does he allow blank to happen? And so I felt like it's kind of fitting that today we're in our reading.
Yeah, it's a challenge for sure.
It's kind of interesting.
These aren't exactly marquee passages for Newcomers Sunday.
No.
When you're wading into the Old Testament.
Yeah. So I just wanted to read a section, and I'll give you guys a little bit of background too. This is Moses is standing with Joshua. Moses is the leader. Joshua's second in command. And it's like yet again another moment where he's drawing the line and he's laying it down of like, if you're gonna follow God, here's what you have to expect. And one of the pieces of scripture which you might have struggled with, things that at least popped out for me, was it says in verse 39 of Deuteronomy 32, "Look now, I myself am he." This is God saying this. "There's no other God but me. I'm the one who kills and gives life. I'm the one who wounds and heals. No one can be rescued from my powerful hand." When you read that and think about that, there's questions, right? There's like, why would God say that? But I'm going to kick it to you, Tom. What was your first thought when you read that, and where do you go with all that?
It is, I think, reading through, the whole, especially Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, it's easy to look at it with a 20th century, 21st century Westerners view of things. And, we often talk about being woke, knowing what's up. And I think that definition is you're trying to apply modern sensibilities and ethics to previous time periods. And we have this recency bias where we think we are the summit and acme of all of history. And so we want to look at all these things through the same lens. And I think what you see, and we'll talk more about the New Testament passage, but God is speaking in a language that was how people could hear him at that time. And it violates all kinds of ideas that we have post the resurrection and just being in 2020 of you can't do that. Yeah. That's not what love is. That's not what compassion and care is. And the idea of these warring factions being told by God to do some scary things that go against our ideas of what's good and true. It's a challenge. And I think the challenge is recognizing the center of history is not us and our generation, and to try and look at that and recognize God was speaking in a language that they understood at that time.
Yeah. And I think sometimes too, like we have a box and we like to put our view of God in a box, and they're only good things. It's like the God of grace, the God of love, the God of creation. But like justice is twofold for me. It's like, I want justice where God gives me grace, and I want justice where God like brings justice to the bad guy as well, right? Like I want those bad guys to go to jail, right? I want the people who've been hurting people to be stopped. And sometimes our view of God is kind of a rainbow view of God, that it's all good.
Because we're never the bad guy.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Yeah, we think of ourselves as, man, it's everybody else, not me. Well, we're the bad guys as well, right? In the sense of we have all sinned and we're all wrestling with our sin and hopefully trying to ask God for help with that. But I think this passage highlights the fact that our God is a God of justice, and he's the creator of justice. So who am I to argue with the person who created the definition of justice, right?
Right.
It is difficult because especially in 2020, 2021, holy smokes, it's like every single day there's something else that's being canceled because now it's politically incorrect. And I feel like for the most part, people are kind of like, all right, let's be done with it. But this is a great thing to help us realize, like, different time, different place. The message is still somewhat the same. We might need to interpret it differently, right?
Right.
What was your thought, New Testament?
One note on this.
Sure.
I think that second passage in there is you realize a lot of this clarifying the law and the specifics and the hellfire that would rain down if they didn't follow. It was all a song. So Moses and Joshua come back and like sing the song. That's an intense song, man.
I know. I was thinking because, again, Tom, you and your family are big musicians. You write your own songs. Have you ever written a dark, horrible song like this? Like, how awkward would that be?
Yeah, I've written dark songs, but not exactly like Deuteronomy level songs. So I love that as we're making our way through the scripture, we're not just doing, track one, side one, and making our way through the whole record, starting in Genesis and making our way to the end, that we're regularly seeing Old Testament and New Testament.
Thank God.
And in this case, the passage in Luke is about Jesus saying, be dressed and ready. And what's interesting here is right before he says this, there's a part where one of the Pharisees invites Jesus to dine at his house. And Jesus doesn't wash the proper way. And the Pharisee comments on it. And he's like, you're not doing the thing. Remember, we got to do the thing. And Jesus says, yeah, you're going through all these motions to wash your hands, but inside is dirty. And you have in the Old Testament just the wrath of God. Here's what you will do with the goat and the goat hair and this kind of woven linen, and you will wait this many days, and it's very specific. And then you have Jesus saying, it's almost adventures in missing the point, right? Yep, you're washing your hands, you're doing all the things, and yet you've completely forgotten the spirit of why we do this. So I love that we have the pairing of the position we find ourselves in post-resurrection versus what it was like in the Old Testament, and having those two to counterbalance.
Yeah.
And in here, what I took away is Jesus is saying in Luke 12:36, be like men who are waiting for their master when he returns from the wedding feast, so that they may immediately open the door to him when he comes and knocks. And as you read through, the parable is, don't be the one who's like, the master's not coming home for a while, so I can do what I want, when I want, with whom I want. Don't be that one. And instead be the one who's always ready. And it's easy to take away from that the idea of be anxious. You never know. You're wringing your hands, you're kind of panicked. And it's not be anxious, it's be ready. And if you truly understand this place, we are stewards of this place. We're stewards of our bodies, stewards of our families, our relationships. We're taking care of this for a brief period of time. Yeah. And if we remember that, we will have no problem being ready. But if we forget that, it gets a little rough.
Yeah. I like how you talked about being a steward. Think about being a tenant, right? If I'm staying in an apartment, I know that I'm not going to stay here probably a long time. When we're stewards, it's the same thing. Something comes in, we hold it for a time, and then it goes out. And I like that thought for us as Christians. And it's so hard for us. I know we both have young families. My mind and our families' lives, I'm tunnel vision, raising kids, you're working, you're, getting people to church. And it's like this thing, and it feels permanent, and it feels like this is life. But at the end of the day, what Jesus is saying is don't get too comfortable, right? This is life, but it's temporary. It's like living in an apartment. It's like being a steward. It's going to be gone in an instant. And so I think about, how do I apply this? How do I be a steward? How do I do what Jesus was calling me? For me, what I was thinking about is that I want to keep my family focused on heavenly things. Like, how can I have regular conversations about spirituality with my family, and at least continue that conversation so it's a part of our life, helping them understand the fact that, this is not it. Like, that is it. and it's gonna come, but we don't know when. But it's important enough that we talk about it on a regular basis. I don't know. What about you?
For me, the fact that I read this and then I tend toward instant anxiety tells you about me. I see it as you don't know when the master is returning.
Yeah.
So don't concern yourself with the things that you can't control. And instead, don't revert or resort to anxiety. Trust he takes care of us, and just be ready. For me, it's do the thing at hand. Don't, like, it could be tomorrow, it could be in years. These are things out of your control. Do the thing at hand. Stay ready. Stay faithful. Be a good steward. That's something you have control and influence over. Yeah. The rest you don't. So don't stress about it.
I love it. Deal with today because the day has enough worry, right? And I think that's good. Every day, taking a step forward and following and trusting God's process. It seems to be that's the thing that keeps us ready and prepared. Hey, we love you guys. Keep it up. Keep reading the 1 year. It's worth it. I always tell at least Gold Creek Woodinville that scripture never comes back void. So even if you got to catch up, hit the catch up button, do it. It's worthwhile.
I have one more question.
Oh,
really quick.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to handing down my family Bible to my kids. Are you going to hand down your family Bible app? Is that how that's
yes,
going
I
down?
Will. And I will say my app is highlighted with yellow. So
Kids comes with all the metadata.
Love you guys. We will see you soon.